Society has been an everlasting changing concept of evolution that really hasn't been showing any signs of slowing down. I mean, we've literally gone from chucking spears at deer and sitting in a campfire circle, talking about God knows what, to now just being able to buy some chicken from a store and being able to cook it up in a pan with some oil, also talking about God knows what. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about how much society has really changed over the centuries and the difference in people's actions between then and now. Because there is seriously some messed up things that have happened in human history that really isn't talked about much today. Starting with the difference between people's moral compass between then and now. Because some people were actually really messed up in the head. You thought today's crazy motherfuckers were bad, but wait till you hear this, bro. So during the whole witchcraft era, back in like the 1400s, women would literally used to be hung on a hook by their own village. Now, what's the reason, you may ask? Well, you probably think it's because they did something really horrible like murdering their kid, listening to YB, or even stealing some straw boot forest from a homeless man at the time. To be honest, I don't even know if there were homeless people considering everybody lived in huts at the time, but whatever. The point is that these women will be hung. I'm talking lynched and burned, all because someone accused them of being a witch. Now, this begs the question, well, an accusation is an accusation at the end of the day, so like, how would they even know if said someone is even telling the truth? And the answer to that question is they don't.
Well, ain't no way, boy.
Usually, if the so-called judge asks for evidence, the accuser will either make up some bullshit or hire a fake witness. Now, see, this begs another question. Why would someone go through all of this trouble just to falsely accuse a woman of being a witch? Well, you see, apparently at the time, if a woman did literally anything significant, I'm talking dead ass making the right type of meal just a little too well, or washing clothes just a little too well, or even just guessing someone's thoughts, like what number someone's thinking between 1 or 5 or some shit, I don't know. I guess that would heavily offend a nigga at the time, and they do some stupid shit like this. Not only a nigga, but the slightest bit of success from a woman and the entire village would lose their shit, bro. Like if a woman folded some clothes just a little too symmetrical, the whole village would literally just crash and burn. They would be thinking there's a witch spawned by the devil living amongst them or something, bro. And they would take all that precaution just to get rid of a witch. But here we are today living in a world where pedophiles like EDP get to walk free. Like, how is this man not in prison? We went from giving the harshest punishments to the smallest crimes to letting niggas who've killed children and done unspeakable things to them walk free, or just give them a light prison sentence. Like, nigga, make it make sense. Now, I'm not saying that people who do these things today deserve death, because at the end of the day, we're all human. And I personally don't think we as humans should get the right to decide who lives and who dies, because that's basically playing God, in my opinion. Now, yes, I know a lot of y'all aren't gonna agree with me there, but that's entirely okay. We all got our own beliefs. And speaking of beliefs, that's the next thing I want to talk about. You see, back in the 1800s, the people at the time had this weird belief of bloodletting.
What the fuck?
For those of you who have not the slightest idea as to what the hell I'm talking about, the meaning of this term might be a little disgusting for some of you, so go ahead and skip to this timestamp if you don't want to hear it. Now, for the people who stayed, bloodletting is the practice of using leeches or cutting open parts of the body to remove blood.
Huh?
Nah, I'm actually not joking. Apparently at the time they thought it'd be a good medical treatment, and thought it'd be a good idea to spend their money on this. And where did this way of medical treatment come from? These dumb had the false belief that many illnesses were caused by an excess of blood in the body, and they thought that by removing said blood would heal you. Now, as crazy as this shit sounds, you gotta give them the benefit of the doubt, because at the time they really didn't have any kind of advanced medical technology that actually worked. And not only that, human history is really just a long line of trial and error, so they had to see it through. But now, to save time, I'm gonna just rapid fire a list of some other strange beliefs people had back in the day. Apparently people thought that evil spirits lurked in Brussels sprouts. Traveling by train could apparently lead to instant insanity. Oh, people believe that you could cure illness with tobacco. I'm sure a lot of you potheads are happy about that one. And last but not least, apparently people believe that upstate New York was once inhabited by giants. You know, after figuring all of this out, maybe today's society isn't as weird as I thought now that I think about it.
Single furries, all the 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 single furries.
Yeah, you know what? We've been doomed since day one. We cannot help ourselves. So the next huge difference between society then and now is obviously the way of living. Now, instead of me talking about how the way of living was way back in the 1800s, I've decided it'd be better to bring up more recent history, as in from the 50s until now. Obviously starting with what aligns with the recurring theme on my channel, segregation, or mutilations as I like to call it. Now, for those of you who don't have a clue as to what this is, to sum up a very complicated time, basically in the South, black people, or really anyone of color, were looked at as inferior inferior in comparison to Caucasians. And due to this idiocy, black people had a much harder time navigating through life due to the constant separation when it came to certain things. Some examples being separated water fountains in schools, different quality bathrooms, and when I mean different, I mean difference. Your right to eat at a damn restaurant, look up the Greensboro for more context. Your right to have a seat on the bus, your freedom of speech, and just about anything that should be equal and fair to everyone wasn't. Not to mention there was a pay gap as well. People of color would also have a higher cost of living, and authority brutality was something else at the time. Police, firefighters, anything, you mention it. Like, if a firefighter or a policeman caught you lacking, you would be finished. And don't even get me started if they caught your ass protesting too, because at the time, legally, I'm pretty sure they were allowed to beat you for it, but do not quote me on that, because I might be wrong. And see, hearing about this horrific time might have you fooled thinking this was like early 1900s or even around 1800s because of these old black and white photos. But please do not let that fool you, because this was literally happening around 50 to 60 years ago. Your grandparents that's like 70, 80 years old right now was well alive during this time. And so if you're young watching this and you have a grandparent that's around that age, you don't even got to take my word for it. Go ahead and ask them. Now there is speculation that almost all segregated time photos are in black and white, so the education system could have everybody fooled into thinking this was hundreds of years ago. But to be fair, it did cost a lot more money to print pictures colored rather than black and white at the time. So make of that what you will. Me personally, I think it was the second reason. But looking at how different it is between then and now when it comes to racial division, you have to admit it has gotten a whole lot better over the years thanks to the civil rights movement and Congress putting an end to it. Now today, for the most part, there's equality in almost everywhere you go. No more getting told to sit in the back of the bus, no more being told you gotta drink from the brown, dirty, dookie-fied water, and no more higher living conditions. People of color now have full rights in today's society, and we have legends like MLK, Malcolm X, John Lewis, and more to thank for that. But see, in today's society, we tend to take the opportunity we've been given for granted to do some but in all honesty, if it weren't for these people, we'd be living in deeper slums than ever before. And honestly, I don't even know why I'm trying to talk deep right now, as if anyone's watching this video taking it seriously. But anyways, with that said, thank you so much for making it this far in the video, and sorry about being gone for a whole month. I'm done making promises to be consistent. I'ma just drop videos when I drop videos. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in 9 months. Goodbye.